Hello. My name's Houston, and this is Media Mood Board. I just saw the recent Ninja Turtles movie, and I really liked it. There's been a lot of comparisons to Spider-Verse, which makes sense. They're visually very similar. You see these movies and you think, there's no way these are the only ones that have this style, right? Now, obviously, the Spider-Verse style wasn't created in a bubble, so let's say you like it. What do you watch next? That's what this list is for. We're going to start with things super similar to Spider-Verse and then kind of spiral outwards. In case you don't want to hear somebody talk about it and just want to see the list, I've created a Letterboxd list, which I'll put in the description below in case you want to just skip to that. For me, there's no better place to start than the gravitational center of Spider-Verse, which is the man who has been credited most often with spearheading the look of these new films. This is Alberto Mielgo. He's a painter and was hired out when they were looking to reboot Spider-Man. They wanted to give it a comic booky style, and so commissioned him to make this short that you're seeing right now, which then went on to inspire the look of Spider-Verse. This talk is pretty interesting. It's just about his artistic process. I'll link it in the description below. A point from this talk that I do want to grab onto is this kind of basic concept from line drawing and painting, which is you don't want your brain to synthesize what you're seeing when you're painting. You don't want to look at a cup, your brain to think, what does a cup look like, and then apply those rules to your painting. You want to paint exactly what you see, bypass the brain. He talks a lot about that things don't need to be perfect. Things don't need to be exactly right. As long as they're close, people's brains will fill in the blanks if it's coming from a place of direct interpretation rather than kind of this pre-built synthesis. I think his comments here super relate to the current CG kind of animated landscape that we're in right now. For a long time, all modern CGI blockbusters followed that Pixar mold. That was automatically what something that was computer generated looked like. If you looked at a cup, you'd ask, how does it look in a Pixar movie? And a lot of the positive reception from Spider-Verse has not been necessarily because of the story, but because we're looking at CG in a way that still makes sense, but isn't through this familiar lens. So when putting together this list, I tried to really focus on those post-Pixar movies that pushed back against the house Pixar style that became universal in the industry due to the success of the Pixar movies. While Mielgo's style was the origin of Spider-Verse, it's not exactly the same as those movies, but if you're looking for more stuff by him, he did create an Academy Award-winning short called The Windshield Wiper, as well as a couple of episodes of Love, Death, and Robots. I just wanted to mention before we jump into this, there are other Disney properties that are also doing the same style in short form. The What If series, as well as there's some like Star Wars shorts that also utilize this style, but we're not going to go into those here. We're mainly focusing on features with a few shorts here and there. Okay, let's say you like Spider-Verse and you don't care about anything else. You just want to see more stuff like it. First off, yes. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. While the Spider-Verse movies play in a lot of different styles, the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie sticks to one specific style and really goes hard on it. While Spider-Verse is a little bit more printed comic, this is more scratches in the side of your notebook. So if you're really interested in seeing what an entire world with a very hyper-specific aesthetic is, this is a super fun execution of it. And then second, I would recommend the new Puss in Boots movie. This is a one-to-one. You can see exactly where they got inspired from. It's got all the action, all the dumb humor, all the anime inspiration from Spider-Verse, just in a pair of Puss in Boots boots. Okay, let's say you watch all of those, you really liked them, and you want more. The next person you're going to want to look to is Phil Lord. You may know these guys from their involvement of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs or the 21 Jump Street reboot. Once you start looking into these non-Pixar animated movies, their fingers are all over a lot of the really successful ones. Specifically, I would point you to Lego Batman. All these Lego movies are interesting style, but Lego Batman is my personal favorite, as well as if you like the Spider-Man movie, this is just another approach to a superhero in a specific CG style that's not Pixar. After that, I would point you to The Mitchells versus the Machines. This was written by Jeff Rowe, who was the writer of the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. It shows a lot of the multidisciplinary interests that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Spider-Verse do. There's a mix of real footage with the animated, a lot of different styles. We're looking at crazy speed lines, deformations, anime influence all over the place. It's aware that it's in a cartoon world in a way that Pixar movies stay within their own structure. What you might have noticed with these is they're all kid or family friendly. To continue with that, here are some more family friendly movies that are in the vein of that similar experimental impressionistic style. Klaus is this really pretty, still Disney inspired, but it has a very specific painterly edge to it, which I think will appeal to anybody who liked those kind of impressionistic tendencies in Spider-Verse. Klaus is also voiced by Jason Schwartzman, and he gives a very Kuzco performance, and that's just really fun to watch. Nimona is a new movie that's been getting a lot of hype that is very indebted to that Disney style, obviously, as well. But you can see the influence of Spider-Verse starting to trickle in this trailer you're seeing here. Nimona has this really weird production backstory, which is one of the reasons it's popular. It was created by this development company called Blue Sky, which was bought out by Disney and then closed down before it could finish Nimona. Netflix bought it and released it this year. I bring this up because the development studio Blue Sky has historically done some non-Pixar aesthetic computer-generated animations, which leads us to our next film, the Peanuts movie. This is what I like to call claymation core. It's like not claymation, but it's using that frame rate to make it look as physical as possible. So in the Peanuts movie, they're obviously taking inspiration from the Sunday comic rather than the kind of Marvel comics that Spider-Verse does. It's interesting to see the type of deformation and techniques they use to try and emulate that style. Similarly, this newer SpongeBob movie uses that same approach to using kind of a claymation-y look to create a CG that doesn't look like Pixar. Now, let's say you really like the multimedia and experimental aspects of Spider-Verse, but you're interested in seeing how that's applied to an adult taste. Now, not all of these movies will be fully CG, but they'll be utilizing that technology to be really playful with their stories in a way that Spider-Verse really indulges in. One thing you could do is look to rotoscope films. A Scanner Darkly is a really good place to start with that. It's going to give you a sci-fi space where they are using the rotoscope to make it look human, but then being playful with some of the additions or the deformations that they do. Waltz with Bashir is less interested in sci-fi and messing with the world, and is more interested in showing a more realistic portrayal, but just in this style. Now, Waltz is actually a flash animation and not rotoscope, but they were attempting to emulate the rotoscope style. Intergalactic is a rom-com musical that's a visual companion to one of Kid Cudi's albums. It has a very similar style to Spider-Verse, but rom-com. You might enjoy Loving Vincent. This is a movie which every single frame in the animation was oil painted. Very physical, very pretty, and it's going to give you a specific look. And finally in this list, I'm going to recommend Mind Game. This is a pretty wild anime that's also pretty horny, so if that's not up your alley, then this movie's not for you. But if you're looking to scratch that mixed media itch, this is one of the best places to do it. Well, you made it. I hope you found something that you liked that you didn't know about, or maybe even just something that you had forgotten about. Like I said before, I've got that Letterboxd list down in the description if that's your sort of thing. You can follow Media Mood Board there or right here on YouTube for weekly hyper-specific entertainment lists. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye.